Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Gripe, the show for short, sweet reviews of new release movies, plus the one thing that annoyed me the most. Today, we're going to be talking about the movie Keanu, starring Michael Keegan Key and Jordan Peele. So, if you're not familiar with who Key and Peele are, then you probably won't like this movie right off the bat, because this movie is very much a Key and Peele type of movie. So, directed by the great Peter Atencio, and I call him great because I actually don't know who he is. I guess he just does like TV and Key and Peele show. But so I'll get right into it. This is off to a great start. Um, so the movie is basically about, it starts off, there's a drug deal that kind of goes, or basically this drug kingpin guy is murdered, and all of his crew is killed by these two mysterious guys. But when he's killed, his kitten manages to get away, and both of the killers are kind of like taken by this cat, but the cat runs away. And when the cat, kind of goes to the door of the character played by Jordan Peele, and he's recently been broken up with, so he's kind of in this like really dark, low place. And when he finds the cat, it's just like this sudden revelation. It's like, oh my God, this cat is like it's going to change my life. And his cousin, played by Keegan Michael Key, is this very straight laced, uptight guy who is you know kind of trying to give him some encouragement, get him back on kind of get him back on his feet. But then he kind of needs to take some of his own advice because he's very much closed off and very straight laced, just kind of just does what he needs to do for himself, his family, and doesn't really take any risks in life. And so a couple weeks after this, Keegan Michael Key's character, his wife and child are going to go to this camp or something for the weekend. So he basically has the weekend to himself, and he's going to spend it with his cousin. And so they go out, they have some drinks, basically, and you know it basically just a very low key kind of night. So when they get back to Jordan Peele's apartment, they see the place has been ransacked and the cat is gone. His cat that he named Keanu is gone. And so they start basically to try to find out who took the cat, and they track down this this drug dealer who's a gang of the he's the leader of the new gang that's basically a cross between the Bloods and the Crips called the Blips. And they find he has the cat, but in order for them to get the cat back, they have to pretend that they are themselves the two guys who killed the other drug dealers, basically. And so the leader of the Blips, who's played by Method Man, he basically wants them to help him do this drug deal, essentially. So they go, and they have to keep pretending. And it's funny because it's like immediately Keegan Michael Key goes from being this like really straight laced guy to somebody who's like very gets really into his character. um, and they have to go around with the Method Man's guy. His character's name is Cheddar. They have to go around with Cheddar's crew basically to do this drug deal. And his right hand man, so to speak, is played by Tiffany Haddish. She plays a character named High C. And basically, she's very skeptical of these two. She knows that there's something kind of off about them, but they go along with it anyway. And they go do this drug deal, and it goes completely wrong. But they walk away with the money, and it's it's this really weird scene that has Anna Faris playing Anna Faris as just this crazy drug user. um, that actually has one of the really good scenes in the movie where they're sitting. Basically, Keegan Michael Key is sitting in the van with the other thugs, and he's telling them about how George Michael was like totally gangster. it's a great scene. That whole scene is just bizarre and funny. But basically, when they do this drug deal and they go back, and the goal is that when they do the deal, they're supposed to get the cat. But now he has another. He says no. I need you guys for something else. And so they steal the cat. But when they do that, um the murderers from the original from the first drug hit, they show up and basically kidnap him, and they're going to kidnap him and torture him, but they turn it around and they kill them. But in the end, they still get pulled into this drug deal at the that the Blips are running, because they're doing this drug deal with a guy played by Luis Guzman, who anytime he's in a movie, you know he's going to bring some sort of comedy to it, like it or leave it type of thing. Um, but then in this basically this goes wrong, but then Key and Peele, they save the day in order to get their cat back, and um, learn a lot in the process. I mean, if it sounds like a really ridiculous plot, it's because it really is. I mean, the plot is just, it's like, it's bizarre. It's, I mean, very much a Key and Peele kind of like story. Um, but it's so cliche. It is so cliche in so many ways of, like it's hard to believe when you have, two people who are very clearly not gangster or, very clearly not, you know, you can tell that they're lying, but everyone kind of believes them just because it's like, oh, okay. That's definitely my key gripe about this movie. Like, if this movie had, kind of gone in the way of reality, there's no way the plot would have progressed at all. I mean, it's just that I mean the stuff that they would say and do was just so ridiculous. But I mean, that's funny. And then there's some of the stuff that they said was ridiculously funny, but it's just like the movie. It was really hard to be like, how is this possible? How is it possible? And that's that one of those tropes that really kind of annoys me is, you know, the person, it's like, oh yeah, all I have to do is act tough and people will believe it. It's like, no, it's a little bit different than that. I mean, these guys were just ridiculous. And I know it's a comedy. It's not meant to be this like really deep, serious movie. But even with comedies, there's a lot of times where you can have a good comedy where, there is at least some believability about it. Whereas in this one, totally unbelievable. But I mean, part of that is just to keep it light and funny. The movie has some violence, drug use, really weird drug trip where the cat is actually talking, um, voiced by none other than his namesake, Keanu Reeves. Great stuff. Um, I mean, I enjoy Key and Peele. I think they're, their comedy is always eccentric, and the two of them are just funny dudes. But I mean, this movie really, I mean, aside from being cliche and having a lot of like, there were a lot of great jokes. There were a few of them that I was just, they killed me. They were that funny. But they're few and far between. Like overall, the movie is actually really uneven. It jumps right into it, with this like drug hit and the cat and all these crazy, drug dealer types. But it's very, jilted and shaky. And I mean, I think the whole point of it is more like of the Jordan Peele's character kind of like building up his confidence a little bit, and like his cat kind of gives him that confidence, and also to get the girl in the sense, and with Keegan Michael Key's character to really like break out of the chain, break free from what he has been, which is just this like by the numbers, just like I'm gonna be the good husband, the good father, and just blinders to the world. And now he's way trying to be a lot more definitive and like make some decisions, take some risks. It's that kind of character building, but it's also extremely cheesy as well. Um, but it's funny. I mean, for a distraction movie, it's funny. It's better than most. Just really like low key distraction type movies. I wouldn't say it's something that I would run out to see again. Um, Again, some of the jokes are hilarious, but it also feels like there's a lot of points where they leave something on the table, where they leave an opportunity for good, some good comedy, and they just kind of they throw a joke out there and just kind of move on. Um, but I got to give credit to the cast. Obviously, Key and Peele. Will Forte shows up as as a weed dealer who's just it's Will Forte is one of those guys who has a lot he has a lot of range in terms of his comedy, and here he plays just another strange character of his. Jason Mitchell plays one of the the thugs, basically one of the blips. He got our attention with Straight Outta Compton, and here he brings some comedic chops as well to it. Method Man, definitely the intimidating kind of character he is. Luis Guzman, Rob Huebel's in it. Nia Long, I haven't seen her in forever. Um, And then Tiffany Haddish, does a really good job as kind of that character. The Anna Faris scene is hilarious because Anna Faris is one of those that she seems like such a nice person, but in this scene she's like insane. She's she's like crazy. Um, I mean, overall, it's a funny movie. It's entertaining. It's a good distraction, but overall, I'd say it also is easily forgettable. I wouldn't say it's a memorable movie in any way. The cat is, adorable, and the scenes with the kitten are just, great. There's, one of the things Jordan Peele does is he like stages these little like calendar shots with the cat like reenacting scenes from movies, which is just perfect. It's the gimmick kind of in the movie for, to kind of get the cute factor in there. But like I said, overall the movie leaves a lot to be desired. But as I said, entertaining little, just for, a couple hours. It'll make you laugh. And if it doesn't make you laugh, you're probably not a Key and Peele fan anyway, so oh well. So I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. For funny, but definitely leaves a lot, on the table that it could have been even better. But for what it is, certainly enjoyable enough. So that is my review of Keanu, my key gripe. So I will see you guys next time. Later.